disgusting how people are just disregarding school buses.
Changes could be coming soon at your child's school bus stop. We'll show you how technology could be the key to keeping kids safe.
You may go weeks with nothing, and then in a few days or a day, you may get several.
Treasure Coast schools finding new ways to prepare to threats for student safety. We'll tell you about a new program training future teachers before they even get on campus.
Plus, many families are working hard to get their kids out of the COVID slide. We'll tell you about the local program in high demand, supposed to boost math and language arts grades. Maybe it could help your child. CBS 12 News this morning at 6 starts right now.
You're watching CBS 12 News this morning.
Well, we are following two big stories on school safety. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Lincoln.
And I'm Ashley Glass. There's a new proposal to improve safety at school bus stops and more training for teachers on the Treasure Coast.
Yeah, all the details on what this means for our students and teachers coming up. But first, here on this Friday Eve, let's check in with meteorologist Zach Covey.
And a very good Friday Eve, not Thursday, Friday Eve. To you, Matt and Ashley. Good morning to everybody else as well. Yeah, we still have that area of high pressure at the surface across North Florida for the past several days. That's brought us kind of a northeast, maybe an east-northeast wind. This morning, we almost have a due east wind occurring at really the low levels of the atmosphere. What does that have to mean for our forecast? Well, for the Treasure Coast, that's not too much of a change. It's still almost northeast for you guys. But with this due east wind for Palm Beach County, a few coastal showers have moved on shore. Now, you might have woken up earlier this morning in Delray and Boynton. There were some pretty hefty downpours that went through your area. A lot of that activity is now slid into northern Broward County. So if you're traveling along I-95 or the Turnpike or maybe A1A or US 1, could be running into a couple of coastal showers once you pass the Palm Beach Broward County line. Just be aware of that, but I don't think those showers and storms, at least this morning, are strong enough to really cause much in the way of traffic concerns. Now, this warmer wind, if you will, is keeping the coast of Palm Beach County very warm. We're in the mid to upper 70s to around 80 degrees. A little bit cooler across the Treasure Coast, now down to 69 in Fort Pierce. Here's a look at that bus stop forecast. Mostly clear skies. Again, an isolated morning shower or storm for drop-off, otherwise drying out by recess, lunchtime, and pickup. Guys.
All right, thank you very much, Zach. On time traffic this morning. It's 37 minutes from Vero Beach to Stewart. No slowdowns right there on I-95. How about here on I-95 going northbound in West Palm Beach? Not seeing anything there as well. We're all clear on our roadways.
Legislation was actually filed, ironically, the day before that Yesenia was killed.
This morning, lawmakers pushing for change and more proactive safety measures at school bus stops.
Lawmakers filed a bill for school districts to install cameras on stop signs of school buses to see drivers who pass while students are getting on or off.
So this all comes a week after a 10-year-old was killed while trying to get to her school bus stop at Fort Pierce.
Yes, Yesenia Rodriguez Gonzalez was finally laid to rest yesterday. Dozens of people, family, friends, and teachers all gathering to say their last goodbye. Tomorrow, the community will release balloons at Oleander Park in Fort Pierce to celebrate her life. We have live team coverage on what is being done to improve school safety this morning. Sam is live at the live desk with a new training program for teachers on the Treasure Coast.
Yeah, but we want to start with our Madeline Montgomery live in West Palm Beach at the bus depot. So, Maddie, there's this new bill aimed at keeping our kids safe. Parents want to hear about it. Tell us about it.
So a camera would be put on each school bus, and then that camera would capture the license plate of drivers who decide to illegally pass the bus. From there, law enforcement can go ahead and send a citation or a ticket to that driver who decided to make the wrong move. And this comes from State Representative Emily Schlossberg, who says this is more important now than ever after last week's tragedy with 10-year-old Yesenia. Although that was a hit and run, drivers passing stop buses has been a big problem statewide. Representative Schlossberg says Department of Education studies indicate over 10,000 vehicles make illegal passes on school bus drivers in a single day.
It's completely disgusting how people are just disregarding school buses. That when the school bus stops and the long arm comes out, vehicles are supposed to stop. But obviously that's not what happened recently.
Schlossberg is cognizant of keeping people's privacy, and so these cameras would only be capturing the license plates of people who are illegally passing the bus when it is stopped. Reporting live from the bus depot in West Palm Beach, Madeline Montgomery, CBS 12 News.
And also this morning, we're learning about a new program on the Treasure Coast that's training soon-to-be teachers to look out for threats in schools.
Yeah, officials tell CBS 12 News school threats have become more common. You might remember the recent threat at Jensen Beach High School just a few weeks ago. A hit list found in a classroom with names and the date for a school shooting. The school was put on lockdown. Parents pulled their kids out of class, but so glad to tell you nothing bad happened that day.
And Sam's at the live desk looking into the new program that can improve safety in schools. Sam, how does this program work?
Well, Matt and Ashley, the program draws on lessons learned from past school shootings, like the Parkland shooting 3 years ago, where 17 people were killed. Right now, teachers who are getting their certification at Indian River State College campuses are being put through this new safety training. It's taught by a team of local law enforcement agencies that use different scenarios and exercises to show them how to run, hide, and fight when there's an active shooter on their campus. Fellsmere Police Chief Keith Touchberry is heading up the program.
We use simulated gunfire. We teach them how to protect themselves, to harden their classroom and lock it down, and how to survive. Then we actually have scenarios where the assailant will enter, and the students go hands-on in trying to pin the assailant up against the wall so that they can stop the threat and they can escape.
Indian River State College and those who helped them create this program spent nearly 2 years coming up with the curriculum and delivering it to the students in their School of Education in Fort Pierce. The final lessons will be complete next spring, and then they expect to make this training available to educational institutions all throughout the state and across the country as well. Ashley.
All right, Sam, 6:06 now, and this week we also told you how Alyssa's Law is being implemented in schools across Florida. Alyssa's Law requires a statewide panic button system. It's a mobile app that teachers and staff can access from their phones to notify first responders if there's an emergency. So the law is named after 14-year-old Alyssa Alhadeff, who was killed in the Parkland school shooting. As of last month, all Florida public and charter schools are required to install this system known as Alyssa's Alerts. So far, more than half of all Florida school districts already have the system up and running.
At 6:06 this morning, the latest in the ongoing push to fight the COVID slide. Students are back in class, but many are still behind in math and language arts. A lot of parents are turning to more help outside of school to try to make up for the losses due to online learning. And one parent we spoke to, Tiffany Hall, says her son puts in 5 hours a week at the Huntington Learning Center in Boynton Beach. He says without the after-school tutoring, he would not be reading at his grade level.
In April of last year, just to give you an idea, he was at the 20th percentile when it comes to pre-K students. And then he completed his first 50 hours of one-on-one tutoring instruction, and then he was already at the 83rd percentile for kindergarten.
Now, that Learning Center says they've seen a huge spike in kids looking for extra help. School districts in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast did offer summer classes to help students, and they continue to work on plans to get students caught up.
6:07 now, and this morning, Florida's COVID cases and hospitalizations continue to go down. That's great news. But the governor's standing firm that COVID is seasonal, spiking in the summer, decreasing in the fall. Epidemiologist Jason Salami argues it's not that simple, and the most recent spike could have been avoided.
I think coronaviruses in general do have a seasonality. There's no doubt about that. But it begs the question, was this inevitable? I do not think we needed to see record numbers of hospitalizations, record numbers of deaths during this wave.
So right now, health experts are warning about holiday travel. They say in the next few months, we might see another spike as millions of people fly and drive to gather with their family and friends.
Well, Congress has just hours to get a measure on the president's desk to avoid a government shutdown. This affects almost every single one of us. And coming up next, we'll tell you what it means for you if they can't strike a deal.
Plus, the massive manhunt for Brian Laundrie still going this morning. And we have new details on the timeline of his fiancée, Gabby Petito's disappearance. That's in about 5 minutes.